people, we are going to the land of Israel. And some Jews complained and said, oh, who said we can go to the land of Israel? Who says it's so good? We want to send spies. And they sent spies, children. And the spies come back, but they come back, instead of saying good things about the land of Israel, they come back, and yeah, they bring things like the very big grapes. It was like, let's say, big, massive grapes. It would take, I think it took something like, I want to say 8 people to carry one cluster of grapes. It was so big. And they came back and they said, look, the land of Israel is a land of giants. And see, the grapes are so big, the fruits are so big. So are the people. It's a scary place. We don't want to go to the land of Israel. And the children, the day that the spies came back was the 9th day of the month of Av, Tisha B'Av. And all the people, I'm going to take a comment in a minute. All the people began to cry. And all the men said, we don't want to go to Israel. Oh no. This is terrible. They're giants there. We're scared. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, Jewish people, stop. Why are you crying? Hashem saved us from Paro. He brought the 10 plagues. He split the sea. What are you talking about? Of course Hashem can save us from the giants in Israel and will win the wars for us. No, we're so scared. We don't want to go. And then Hashem gets very angry. And Hashem, children, punishes the spies. I'll take your comment in 1 second, darling, yeah? And Hashem said, because you cried on Tisha B'Av, on the 9th day of the month of Av, for no reason. You cried because you didn't want to go to the land of Israel. And you cried for no reason. From now on, I will give you a reason to cry on Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av will become a very sad day. Yes, Esther, quickly before I continue with the story.
Why is it having baked food is kind of better because then you have a lot
That's
of
right. It's actually a blessing. Instead of seeing the blessing, they saw it as a curse. They thought it was a bad thing. It was just so foolish. It meant you're going to be very, very, very rich. And so it says, look, it's almost like people crying, oh no, I'll have so much money. Oh no, I have such a big house. But you're crying. Be happy. So children, from then on, children, Hashem said, instead of going directly into the land of Israel, Hashem told the Jewish people that they have to wander in the desert for how many years? Anybody knows?
40.
Right, 40 years. Good, Rachel. And you girls too. 40 years, Hashem said, you're going to wander in the desert. And Hashem said, during those 40 years, all the people who cried, all the men over the age of 20, they're going to die. And they're going to die on the very day on which they cried. Meaning for the next 40 years, every year, what they have to do is, out in the desert, see, because they lived in the deserts, right, children? So they all lived on tents. And whilst living in the desert was a big miracle because Hashem sent them clouds to protect them. Hashem sent them man from Shamayim, food. And Hashem gave them water from a rock, from Be'er Mayim, from Miriam and Neviah's well. Children, they all lived comfortably in the desert, in the sand with all the tents. But once a year, on Tisha B'Av, on the 9th day of the month of Av, Hashem tells the Jewish people, any man who was over the age of 20, when they cried that they don't want to go to the land of Israel, has to go at night, on the night of Tisha B'Av, he has to make a pit in the ground, and he has to sleep in the pit. Has to sleep, basically to sleep in a grave. Meaning because he might, all the men. And every year on Tisha B'Av, some of the men would die. It was very sad, children. Not all of them. They don't all die over 1 year. Hashem said he's not going to kill all of them in 1 year. Hashem said it's going to kill them over 40 years. So every year Tisha B'Av became very scary. And every year Tisha B'Av, people cried and cried because they knew they would hug and kiss their wives and the children goodbye. And they'd say, I don't know if I'll wake up in the morning. And every year, a huge portion would die. And that happened for 39 years. On the 40th year, the remaining men who hadn't died yet over the past 39 years, they were so grateful that they still lived for 39 years. But they said, we know tonight we're going to die. Because Hashem said we can't go into the land of Israel because we cried that we don't want to go to the land of Israel on Tisha B'Av. So now we have to pass away in the desert instead of going into the land of Israel. And this is the last Tisha B'Av before going into the land of Israel. So we're going to go sleep in the graves. And they went to their wives and their children and they hugged them and they kissed their kids and they said, we love you. And goodbye, I'm not going to wake up in the morning. Bye-bye. And everybody cried. And they knew it was the 9th of Av. Remember that, how do we know the day of the month? Because we look at the moon. And the moon was a little crescent, right? On the 9th of Av, the moon isn't full. And they went to sleep in the grave. But then, the next morning, they weren't dead. None of them died. Esty, I'll take your comment in 1 second, okay, my love? I'll take it. And he said, that's funny. We must have made a mistake. It's not really Tisha B'Av tonight. It's probably only the 8th of Av. We made a mistake. Well, I'm glad I am alive for one more day. And they were so happy. And they spent that day with their wives and with their children. And they said, yay. But tonight we have to go to sleep in the grave.
Okay.
Tonight must be Tisha B'Av. We must have miscalculated. Okay, we're going to sleep. Good night. And they said goodbye. And they hugged their fathers. The fathers went to sleep again in the grave that night, thinking it's Tisha B'Av. They looked up at the sky and they said, well, the moon's a little bigger now. I don't have the picture, children, yeah? He said the moon is a little bigger, but okay, tonight must be Tisha B'Av. But the next morning, again they woke up and they said, whoa, we really miscalculated the dates. It's not Tisha B'Av. Children, they did that for 6 nights. On the 6th night, children, the moon became big and round. It was the 15th day of the month of Av. It was Tu B'Av. What is today's date? And they said, they went to sleep, but then they looked at the moon and they said, 1 minute, it can't be Tisha B'Av anymore. In Tisha B'Av, the moon has to look like a little crescent, like a banana. Now, right? Or whatever you want to call it. But if the moon is full, if it's a big round full moon, it's already the 15th of the month. Whoa! Tisha B'Av came and went, and we never passed away. And Moshe Rabbeinu came to them and he told them, Hashem has forgiven you, even though you were supposed to pass away, all of you, and not come into the land of Israel. Hashem has forgiven you, and you are allowed to come. Look at the moon. It's Tu B'Av. It's the 15th of Av. And the men were so happy. And they ran home to their mothers and to their wives and to their children. And they were singing and dancing. And they said, yay, we're not passing away in the desert. We're coming into the land of Israel with everyone. And there was huge, huge rejoicing. I'm sorry, darling, it's a story. There was huge, I'll use it for my show. There was huge, huge rejoicing and dancing. And yes, Esty, what did you want to say, darling?
Why didn't the wives and children pass away?
Because the wives and children never cried. They wanted to go to the land of Israel. It was only the men over the age of 20 who cried. So for the next 40 years, they had to pass away. And children, that was the first time that today's date, Tu B'Av, became a holiday for the Jewish people. Because they said, we realize Hashem has forgiven the remaining men and they're coming into the land of Israel. And they did, in fact, and they didn't die, and they lived happily with their families. But children, there were other reasons that Tu B'Av was a very, very happy day. Yes, Hadassah, yes, honey.
I heard that before these stories, Eretz Yisrael was called Eretz Canaan.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was called Eretz Canaan. Canaan was the grandson of Noach. He was the son of Ham. And he had, I guess, settled in the land and he called it Canaan. Correct, darling? Yes.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, when it comes back to you, you'll tell me. Esty, one more comment and then we'll go into the next story. Yes, darling.
It's also, I'm very happy because tonight's Hadassah's birthday.
Happy birthday, Hadassah. Beautiful. Yes, darling. Yes.
How many remaining men was still alive?
That's a very good question, Esty. I don't know. But it seems that it was a big number of, a lot. There's many of them who actually don't die in the desert and come into the land of Israel, which is a huge blessing from Hashem and that Hashem forgave. But I want to go into another story, guys, a few other things. Also, children, on the 15th of Av, when the Bet HaMikdash stood, the Jewish people, yes, go, I think it must be Kayla, tell her she may come in. The Jewish people used to chop wood to prep the wood that is required for the Bet HaMikdash. And on the 15th of Av, all the wood was ready. So that was another reason. Another reason, girls, I don't have my 12 Shvatim puppets over here. Esther, just shut the door, darling, okay? It's fine, darling. Chayla, shut the door, please. Chayla, please come and shut the door, sweetie. Thank you, darling. Children, we'll go very quickly over the story of Pilegesh Bagiv'ah. We did it yesterday, but we were with the younger kids and there was a blackout and we didn't hear the story properly. So I'm going to go very quickly over the story we mentioned yesterday, very quickly. Children, all the Jewish people lived in the land of Israel, and in the part of Jerusalem, part of Yerushalayim, the tribe of Binyamin lived there. But the people from the tribe of Binyamin were not learned and were not learning Torah, and for some reason were not keeping properly. And children, they were supposed to have big rabbis and leaders watching over them and making sure they do the right thing. The halacha is you have to have shotrim v'shoftim. Jewish people are told we have to have judges and policemen to make sure that there's law and order. Actually, children, the goyim, the non-Jews, have the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach, the 7 Noachite laws, and they too, the law is that you have to have policemen and judges to keep law and order. We have to pay the policemen properly, and we have to thank them, and we have to make sure that there's law and order, children. That's part of Torah. But either way, their rabbis and their leaders were like, oh, these people are very rich. We're not going to interfere with what they're doing. And one day, a Jew from the tribe of Yehuda, he was a rich Jew. Darling, I'm sorry, the noise is disturbing. Please don't play with it. He was a rich Jew, and he was traveling together with his maidservant. She was called a Pilegesh. Pilegesh meant like a maidservant that he was kind of married to. And he said, oh, I'm tired. Let's stop off at the tribe of Binyamin. Let's go stay at their hotel over there. All right. But those people don't look like very nice people. I'm sure they're okay. They're Jewish people. They're from the tribe of Binyamin. Come on. And children, when they came, the men from the tribe of Binyamin, children, it was very sad. They saw the Pilegesh, they saw the maidservant, and they said, look at her. We want her. Give her to us. We're going to do with her whatever we want. Give us your Pilegesh. And the owner from the tribe of Yehuda said, or maybe it was the tribe of Yisachar, I'm not sure, children, I'm so sorry. He said, no, she's my Pilegesh, she's my maidservant, she belongs to me. And they said, you're here now in the tribe of Binyamin. This is our land. This is our territory. We do here whatever we want. You can't do whatever you want. You have to listen to Torah. And Torah says you can't kidnap people and take them and do with them whatever you want, especially young girls. No one's ever allowed to touch a young girl. It seems that she was young, darling. She wasn't just, and children also, these halachot have to do,
20?
I don't know exactly.
A teenager?
But possibly a teenager, I don't know exactly. But children, her age didn't matter so much. The law is, children, that girls in Torah have to be protected. For example, No one's ever allowed to get close to a girl, and no one may ever, God forbid, like give us a hug and a kiss, let's say, right? There's different laws. I mean, if it's your father, your brother, things like that, it's okay, but we need to be very careful, children. There are many laws of what's called Hilchot Yichud. Now, STST, darling, it's disturbing, sweetie. Don't worry about who's outside. Whoever needs to come in will come in. Don't interrupt the story. Children, there's laws called Hilchot Yichud. Laws of not being locked up alone with another man who's not your husband, or your father, or your brother. And these men from the tribe of Binyamin, they were like, oh, we don't care, we're going to take her, and each one of us will take her, and be locked up alone, and we'll do whatever we want. Children, they were very bad, and it's very against Torah. Torah teaches us that a girl is like a princess. She's holy, she's kadosh, and she needs to be treated with respect and dignity, and no one can come close to her. Under the chuppah, they get married. The boy puts a ring on her finger, and then she can go home and live with him like a husband and wife. But like stuff like that, it's not allowed, children. And we always have to be very careful also, children, just as a side note, that no one can ever touch you, God forbid, in a way that's not appropriate, right? Inside our clothes, it's our personal body.
And that you don't like.
Right, and you don't like. And we always tell our mothers, children, and we always tell them, we say, don't touch me, I'm telling my mommy. You understand? You always have, because you're little, and little children can't protect themselves, but your adult parents can protect you, right, children?
And people are scared.
You have to say, don't touch me, I am telling my mommy. No one's ever, your body belongs to you. It's a gift from Hashem. It's holy, it's kadosh, and no one can come close to it. You've got, and you have to tell your mommy, right? We don't keep secrets from our parents. I mean, the happy secrets, for example, happy secrets are, you're making a secret birthday, right? Let's say you make a secret birthday.
My dad's birthday today.
Yes!
He came from the basement, and I surprised him with balloons.
Right, so that's a happy secret. Why is it a happy secret? Because it doesn't stay a secret forever, right? It's a secret while you're preparing the balloons, and it's a secret while you're preparing the cupcakes and all. But in the end, it doesn't stay secret forever. Then he goes, surprise! And it's not a secret anymore.
I get as a time, and I think tonight, or when I come back from home,
yeah, darling, I've got to finish the story quickly. Beautiful. But that's a happy secret. Children, an unsafe secret, wait, let me just explain to you. An unsafe secret is like the secret that the men in Binyamin said. They said, give us your pilegesh, and we'll do whatever we want, and we're keeping it secret forever and ever, and don't ever tell anyone. You keep it a secret. Children, secrets that other people tell little children to keep forever and ever, not your daddy and mommy, but let's say people tell forever, don't ever tell your mommy, that's not a safe secret. A safe secret, a happy secret, is like a surprise birthday party, because it doesn't stay secret forever. But okay, yes, Yasmin, one quick comment, and then we continue the story quickly. Yes, darling.
So, I had a book about personal privacy.
Right, that's right. Personal privacy, personal safety. That's right.
In school, we used to have a book. It's called Personal
Space, maybe, personal privacy.
Right? Remember that book?
That's right. We had. Okay, but let's continue with the story. So, children, the boys, these men in Shevet Binyamin, did not respect personal privacy, and they told the girl, "Keep it a secret. Don't tell anyone. No one can ever find out." It was an unsafe secret. It was very not safe. And children, they hurt her. They hurt her very badly. But children, in her private, yes, it's a private space, Lorelei. And not only that, children, actually they were very, very, very bad. It wasn't common, children. It happened many years ago. I'm not saying that things like that happen now. She actually passed away, children. There was a lot of men, and they all hurt her very badly, and she passed away, which was very sad. And the owner, when he sees she died, he said, "That's it. I'm going to tell all the Jewish people what these men did." And children, it was very sad. He took her body, which wasn't alive anymore, and he sent it to the 12 tribes on the back of a donkey. And the donkey traveled from the tribe of Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Yosef. Not Binyamin, because it happened in Binyamin. And everywhere that they went, and people saw the donkey, and people said, whoa, look at this donkey with this girl on it. And they could see that she had been hurt very, very, very badly. And people turned around and said, whoa, what's this sight? Why is there a donkey with this girl who's not alive on it, traveling all over the land of Israel? What's going on? And the owner said, this is what the men in the tribe of Binyamin did. They made a terrible, terrible sin. They hurt my Pilegesh very badly. Pilegesh Bagiva. And they hurt her so badly. Pilegesh Bagiva literally is a Pilegesh that was in the valley, I guess.
What was her name?
No, we just know her as a Pilegesh. Pilegesh means she was a maidservant. Children, which is very important. She wasn't even fully Jewish, this girl. She was a Canaanite maidservant. But even that, the Torah comes to teach us how serious it is that girls are respected and that they're treated with dignity and respect, and their personal space is their space, and their bodies are holy, and nobody is allowed to come and be inappropriate in any way. Even with her, she wasn't a princess. She wasn't a daughter of an important Jewish man. She was simply a Canaanite maidservant. And even for her children, the Jewish men said, that's it, we're going to make a big court case. Among the Jewish people, we respect our daughters. Our girls need to be protected. And we can't let the tribe of Binyamin get away with it. Yeah. And their leaders didn't stop them. Children, that was the most important part. It wasn't just that the men of Binyamin were bad. That was in itself wrong. What was also very, very wrong, children, was that their rabbis and their leaders, and let's say their princes, their important people, or their shotrim and shoftim didn't stop them. They said, oh, they're very rich, let them do whatever they want. That's just because a person is rich, they can't do whatever they want. And we have to respect all of humanity. And so they said, we're going to make a big war. And children, I know you've been sitting so long, you're wonderful. We're almost done. Rivka, please, darling, come closer. So they said, we're making a massive war. And ironically, children, all 11 tribes went to fight against the tribe of Binyamin. And the Tanakh teaches us that Binyamin was such a powerful tribe that in the beginning they actually won the first battle. And the Jewish soldiers said, whoa, I can't believe that these boys, these men from the tribe of Binyamin won over us. They said, let's make the war again. And children, it was shocking. It became a civil war. The Jewish 11 tribes, meaning Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, 11 tribes, went to fight against one tribe. Why? Because they said we need to respect our daughters. The girls need to be
all the Jewish people who are
children. And not only that, they said that the entire tribe needs to be wiped out. So they made a massive war, children. And from the tribe of Binyamin, everybody dies. They make a huge war. It's very sad. And they kill all the men and all the women and sadly all the children too. Now during the battle, when the war was taking place, children,
Even the women were bad?
That's how they predicted. They said we have to wipe out this tribe from the Jewish people. They said that this tribe, they have no concept. I guess the idea was that maybe these women raised these boys to become like that the mothers should have taught their children better. I don't know. But children, I don't have a boy puppet here. But children, what happened was, I'm going to reiterate the story we went yesterday. It's an important story to understand why today is such a big Yom Tov, children. So, children, 400 boys, I don't know if I put it over, 400 boys, children, hide. And they say, we're never going to win this battle. Let's run away. And 400 boys from the tribe of Binyamin they run away to the caves, children. They go and they say, we're never going to win. Let's run away and hide inside the caves. And they go and they hide in the caves till the battle is over. But when the battle is over, only 400 boys from the tribe of Binyamin are left. And the Jewish men were so angry with them. And they said, we have a law that if you're from the tribe of Reuven, you only marry from the tribe of Reuven. If you're a tribe from Shimon, you only marry from the tribe of Shimon. But all the men said, I'm going to use my Moshe puppet again because I'm so many puppets. Sorry, children. They said, I take an oath that I will never give my daughters to marry anyone from the tribe of Binyamin. Yeah, me too. I'll never give my daughters to the tribe of Binyamin because they were so bad. The problem was, children, after the war was over, and Binyamin only had 400 boys left. Now there was no one for them to marry. They said, you all swore that you wouldn't give us your daughters. Who is going to marry us? Now we have no one to marry because none of the Jewish men are willing to give us their daughters. And the Jewish men didn't know what to do. They said, 1 minute, we took an oath that we would never give our daughters to the boys from the tribe of Binyamin because we were so angry with them. But we don't really want the tribe of Binyamin to be completely wiped out. If they don't get married and have children, then by the time all these boys die out, there won't be any more tribe of Binyamin. What should we do? And the big rabbi said, you know what we'll do? We won't give them our daughters. But if they come and they take their daughters, our daughters.
But is that not that great?
Yeah, so I'll explain to you how it happened. And I'll explain to you why Tu B'Av is such a big guy. Because you have to ask. But for that 1 year, they abolished the rule. And they said, all the Jewish girls, whichever girl wants to come get married, should come on the 15th of Av to the fields by Jerusalem. And all the big princesses and all the beautiful princesses, they should take their beautiful dresses and they should share their beautiful gowns and their beautiful dresses. Sorry, I know, to our dress. Their beautiful gowns and their beautiful dresses with the poor girls. So nobody should know who's rich and who's poor. And they would come and they'd give all their jewelry and all their dresses. And they'd say, here, we're going to share our gowns with you. And all the girls together. They wore very beautiful, very fancy clothing. It wasn't, I don't know if it was, well, actually, you know what? I think they did dress in white. You're right. Maybe it was a collar dress. But everyone was dressed beautifully. You couldn't tell who's rich and who's poor. And the rabbi said, bring the clowns and bring the musicians, play music. Yes, they did makeup. And they said, all the girls come and dance in the fields. And any man who wants to get married, including the boys from the tribe of Binyamin, who we promised we won't give our daughters to, they too should come, and each boy should choose which girl he wants. And on that day, children, Hashem made a big mess. From then on Tu B'Av, any Jewish boy who wanted to get married became like a Navi, like a prophet. And he was able to see through Ruach HaKodesh which girl is destined to be his wife. And on that day, they'd be singing and dancing outside in the field. Now, even though children, we're very careful today. Girls don't dance in front of boys. And we go to weddings, we put mechitza. The boys are with the boys, the girls are with the girls. And of course, we don't touch each other. We keep very, very tsanua and very respectful to the girls. Her body, the girl's body is holy and special and no one can come close to her. But on the day of Tu B'Av, the girls would dance, and we're told Hashem turned it into a kedusha. There was no Yetzer Hara on the day of Tu B'Av, and each boy was able to recognize who was supposed to be his wife. And then they'd go back to the fathers' homes, and they'd say to the fathers, I saw through Ruach HaKodesh that your daughter is destined to be my wife. Please, can I have your blessings? And then the father would give their blessings, and there'd be a big feast, and they'd make barbecues, and they'd be singing out, and it was beautiful. And then they would plan for the wedding. Usually the wedding was a few months later, but that day they would get engaged. And children, Tu B'Av became a day of tremendous celebration. It turned a very sad event of Pilegesh Vagiva into a very happy event. And from then on, every year until the destruction of the second Bet HaMikdash, we would perform this ceremony of the girls dancing in the fields and making music and beautiful things. And they would dance in the fields, and they'd bring all kinds of different things. You'll see all kinds of different things to dance with and music. And then they would choose, well, no, it's golden hair. But it also goes, it was the day of Ahavat Yisrael, where the rich girls would share with the poor girls all their beautiful clothing. And she says that the princesses on the day of this day would take clothing from girls who were less rich than them. So no one should recognize and realize how rich they were. And each girl was chosen for her virtues, not for her money. Okay, children, thank you. It's been a long shiur. Sorry, girls.